The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host and their guests do not necessarily reflect those of Para X, its affiliates, or its sponsors.
Merry meets and merry part, bright the cheeks and warm the heart. For tread the circle thrice about, to keep unwelcome spirits out. Abide within the law you must, in perfect love and perfect trust. Mind the threefold laws you should, 3 times bad and 3 times good. These 8 words the read fulfill, and ye harm none, do what ye will.
Welcome to Stirring the Cauldron. Now, here's your host, Marla Brooks.
And Merry Meet everybody, and welcome. Now, tonight my guest is Von Braschler, and the last time he was here, we talked about his new series of ancient wisdom scrolls. And we talked about the past life scroll and also did a little bit of talking about the lucid dreaming scroll. But the topic of lucid dreaming is just kind of worthy of more than an hour's worth. So we're going to have to maybe do a part 2. But it just has so many layers. And Von has a whole bunch of layers too. He's a lifetime member of the International Theosophical Society. And he's the author of several books on consciousness development. He's a student of yoga. He's led workshops throughout the United States and the United Kingdom and appeared on television and many radio shows. Now, as usual, questions and comments are welcome from the chat room. And if you'd like to join in, you're listening and listening live, join us at paraxradionetwork.com. So, hi, Von. It's nice to have you back.
Merry meet. Thank you for inviting me back, Marla. You're very kind to do so.
You have so many interesting things I can't help myself. It's just, it's one of those things, and that's a good compliment. All right, so let's start out with you giving a little brief rundown about what the ancient wisdom scrolls in general are all about.
Yeah, so I've been working with a new publisher at Schiffer in Pennsylvania, and they came up with this idea. We were both talking about having intro books that would be like more than just intro books. They would be shorter, more to the point, and yet very condensed. They would be like layered. And I like layered. So I like the history. I like to look at how the ancients looked at something. So truly, this is the Ancient Wisdom series in scroll form. So they, I was thinking like little booklets, and they said, no. We want something that really, encapsulates where thinking has been on a subject, where it is now, and where it could take us. And I said, oh, that's what I like to do. I come from the magazine end. And so we've come up with a series of 8 of them. So there's more coming. The next one will likely be elementals, nature spirits, and guides. And then we're going to do one on amulets, talismans, and charms. And we have one coming up on magical systems and energy healing. So, these are all, viable topics, and so they're a quicker read, and they're more fun because you can hold these 2 pieces of pine, these scrolls, and this is all natural material. So you hold a scroll in the left hand, a scroll in the right hand, and you just feed the paper through. It's very easy, and it reads left to right. It's very easy to read. There's a place mark, so you can stop anywhere in the reading. And it works just very easily.
Yeah, they're fun. Aside from being interesting and educational, they're really fun to have that. You just imagine that, you see it in the movies, people in historical movies pulling out a scroll and reading, hear ye, whatever. But, it's really good. Now, after talking to you a while back about lucid dreams, I realized that I had a couple of them and didn't know it.
Oh, good. Let's hear them.
Well, first of all, what are lucid dreams? Let's tell people.
Lucid dream. Okay. To understand a lucid dream, you have to understand that most dream research that's been done by so-called science it looks at common dreams. These are the stress dreams you have during the night when your physical mind keeps playing over and over and over unresolved matters of concern. In other words, you're tossing and turning and you can't turn off your mind. So your physical mind keeps working away at these things. It's like it's just impossible to turn it off. And yet it's half asleep, your body's half asleep, but it's not fully asleep because it's still working. And you're having these dreams where you're running or you're dealing with people, you're reliving situations. Maybe you're trying them out in a different way. And these dreams are always, unsatisfying. They're often nightmares. Sometimes they're happy, but they're dreams about recorded memories. They're recorded memories, and your recorded memories can be unresolved matters of the past or speculation and worries about the future. And that's what most of us think of as a dream. These are very commonplace dreams, and they're not very fulfilling, and they're not very settling for the most part. Now, a lucid dream is a dream that is vivid, it's colorful, it is out of body, it is a dream where you feel like you're really there, and you're not playing all the characters, and there's not all this symbolism. It's a meaningful exploration into a matter of deepest concern to you on a spirit or soul level. So I like to say that it's the hidden part of you, the inner self, the spirit in you that springs forward and leaves the body, and it goes into a voyage outside the body of great exploration and discovery, as the soul does want to know, who am I? Why am I here? And what should I be learning? These are great matters of concern. And these are matters that are not stored in your physical memory, so you can't really analyze them. So you need to be, as a rule, very at rest, meaning the body is completely to sleep, it's completely numb and peaceful, and it means that the analytical mind, your physical brain, has really kind of switched off, or given way to this inner consciousness that comes forward and leads the way. It is your supermind, your supra consciousness, and so there has been some actual research in this among some psychologists and others, and we're beginning to see that these are very serious matters, and indeed in history, lucid dreams have directed kings and visionary leaders. They've been matters of great divine revelation, prophecy, windows to the soul, and furthermore, lucid dreams can be healing.
Yeah, I was going to say, how can people differentiate between having a regular dream and a lucid dream? And you're kind of explaining that. But when I realized when I had one, I didn't know that it was. I woke up and said out loud to myself, well, not out loud to myself, I said out loud that this wasn't a dream, but I didn't know what it was.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's so typical, and people will have these dreams without any sort of prior planning. They'll just happen almost inadvertently. So these are like accidental dreams, but really they're not. If you think about it, it's that your inner spirit longs to get out and explore, and it rarely gets to do this. Sometimes it does it in a daydream. Sometimes you have like a vision, and sometimes you have a lucid dream. In a lucid dream, you will know that it's you. It will be extremely vivid. You will sense your presence there. You will know that it's real, And moreover, you bring back great personal insight from the experience.
And I've got a couple of questions from the chat room that are along those lines. The first one is, instead of just brought on by stress or anxiety, can lucid dreams be prophetic messages from loved ones?
Yes. So historically, dreams have often been prophetic, and loved ones, of course. The beautiful thing about a lucid dream is that that you can go anywhere at any time, past, into the future, into the distant past lives, alternate realities. I mean, there is, if you think about it, it is your consciousness, your spirit leaving the body. So it is pure energy leaving the body, and it travels faster than the speed of light. It is not governed by the physical laws that would prevent you from going anywhere in any place, time or space. You can meet people that you know. You can meet people that, and you could actually communicate with people in dreams. And maybe later on we can talk a little bit about shared dreams. People having the same dream. But it is very typical that we will meet with loved ones in dreams, and they might not even be conscious of the fact that you're probing them and getting information from them. I mean, often I've been accused, Marla, of inhabiting people's dreams, and they say, "Oh, you told me the most interesting thing last night. You came to me and you told me this," and it was so vivid, Vaughn. I mean, I woke up and I said, honestly, I don't recall it, but it's extremely likely this happened, because this is the way our spirit operates. It is so loose, and it can be in many places. And it is not limited at all as to where it can go. In fact, as far as talking to loved ones and relatives in your dreams, I mean, the Native Americans in the shamanic culture would often go and speak to their ancestors. Mm-hmm. And it's not just a Native American thing. We know in other cultures this was true.
Yeah, and I'm going to get to that in a minute, but I want to get to the other question before I lose it. It says, could lucid dreams be your soul part acting in the astral world? Can we become deities for real in them?
Oh my gosh, what a wonderful question. And this is kind of my take on it, is that it is your soul that is traveling. And I make a distinction between a soul and a spirit. But I think in this case, it is your spirit and your soul together leaving, and they're leaving fully energized with consciousness. And since you are here in this physical form, your consciousness resides on multiple levels of subtle energy bodies. You have a mental energy body, which is fully energized by consciousness. And this intelligent energy we will call consciousness for the moment resides on your mental body, your causal body, your astral body, your emotional body for certain, your higher spiritual bodies as well. And so I think that in fact it is like the soul traveling and taking you somewhere, because your soul kind of knows. If you think of the soul as being eternal. From any point of view, the soul can be an eternal aspect of you that lives before your physical life here now, and will live after this physical life here now. It is a part of you that is eternal. Therefore, it has insight and knowledge that your analytical physical mind does not have. It kind of knows where you've been, why you're here, and where you're going. And so it has an agenda. And so, in other words, get out of the way, let it go. But yeah, as far as becoming divine in this sense, I think it does release your higher consciousness out there into a broader field of play that is linking one's personal consciousness to a higher cosmic consciousness or a divine consciousness, and in that sense, then we touch the divine, we become one with the divine, and to go a little further along that direction, it recognizes our divine aspect and connection to all.
Makes good sense. I want to jump back into history of dreams for a minute and dream interpretations, because they started the interpretation in ancient Babylonia. They recorded and considered that a form of divination.
Yeah.
And, since then, like you said, there have been many cultures and religions through the ages who've studied and wrote about them. And when did people begin to recognize them as lucid dreams or dreams differed from other types? I mean, is everything old become new again?
Yeah, well, at some point, the Egyptians started to induce these dreams because they knew they were extremely helpful, And the Assyrian king back around 850 BC built a temple to the god of dreams because he knew that these dreams were very special, was giving us divine insight. And then after the Egyptians, the Greeks actually had dream temples. But, you're right. I mean, the history of lucid dreaming, or let's call it dream work. Dream work goes back to, the earliest recorded dream work would be in ancient Sumer, kind of the cradle of all civilization. That dates it back to like 3000 BC or even earlier. So we're looking at 5,000 years of dream work. Now these people, they actually relied on the dreams. The Syrians, the Sumerians, the Mesopotamians, the Babylonians, the Assyrians, all. And I mean, you think back to Gilgamesh. The Epic of Gilgamesh is an Akkadian story that shows how prophetic dreams could be in guiding a person. And in the Epic of Gilgamesh, which is very old, it describes the souls traveling to other realms and meeting with deities. So I think that kind of answers the question. And it goes all the way around the world. I mean, the Cicero, he wrote that all dreams are produced by human conscious thought, and there were visions of an insightful nature. Early China, they believed that part of the soul was freed from the body during the sleep, would visit a dream realm. So this goes on and on and on. So the first dream dictionary, if you will, or dream book, comes from Greece, ancient Greece. So, I mean, there's quite a history here.
Well, and dream dictionaries in the last 20 years have been, or maybe more, very trendy.
Very trendy, yeah.
But they haven't, books about lucid dreams have not been that.
No. So I would say that it's fun to read dream dictionaries in the same way that it's fun to read sensational magazines like the National Enquirer. It's fun, but it's like they're not going to be accurate because these are dreams that kind of catalog what some people in the past have dreamed about and what it seemed to be suggesting. And these dream dictionaries are really based on these kind of common restless night dreams that we have that are just kind of rehashing matters of concern that the analytical mind cannot let go even during sleep. So they're not very insightful and they're not very accurate, and they certainly don't describe your dream, because your dreams are going to be unique, and particularly in discussing lucid dreams, they're going to be extremely insightful and extremely personal, and have information just for you. No one can really interpret those dreams but you.
All right, another question from the chat room. Is it possible to control a lucid dream, or do you have to allow it to play out or wake yourself up?
Yeah, you can just play it out, and in the dream world, it's really, I know people come up with ratios, but it's like you can have a dream that seems to go on and on and on. I had one where I dreamed an entire lifetime in one night. I mean, I would get up and have a drink of water and go back and continue the dream. And it was extremely interesting. And I realized that I was actually, my soul was visiting a past life. It was extremely insightful, and I've dreamed of people. This is the other thing, you'll dream of people in a lucid dream that you don't know in this physical realm. You never see them during the day. You couldn't pick them out of a lineup, and yet you might dream of them, and they're important to you. And then you begin to think, well, who are these people? They're probably people that you know from a previous life, people who are very important to you. They might be, in fact, part of your soul group. They might be twin flames. They might be, even your twin soul. And as time goes by, you'll find that the people that you see in these dreams, you'll maybe later see them on the street, because it kind of opens to you an explanation of where you've been wandering at night in your dreams.
Mm-hmm. Do lucid dreams carry messages from us, from a higher source, or are they sometimes just some random thing that, doesn't really mean too much?
Yeah, I think they're not really random. I think they're I would say they're programmed. And if you want, we can get into programming dreams as opposed to having a sudden dream falls in your lap. But I think that I think that they are in a sense always programmed, and the ones that we have inadvertently, and you say, what was that? That was like no dream I've ever had. Mm-hmm. It was so powerful. It was so real. I have to pay attention and think about this dream. And it was a special dream. It was so vivid, so colorful, so impactful. And you have to think, well, my inner spirit, my inner soul wanted me to have this dream. Mm-hmm. It selected it. It programmed this dream for me. I couldn't have done it on my own. So, I mean, yeah, you did it on your own because, it is your inner self. We have to think of our outer self and our inner self. And I think the part that's inside us is, of course, the part that's connected. This is the part has high awareness. It has intelligence and a connection to a divine source, if you will. Yeah.
Yeah, it just, I'm just thinking, because the ones that I had, I mean, they seemed to be random. They were, they had messages to them, but, and I knew that it wasn't really a dream, but I just couldn't figure it out. It's one of those things like,
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you're right. We have these random dreams, and we say, well, where did that dream come from? And then you think, well, how in the world could I go back there, Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like the Wizard of Oz. You just think about it, click your heels, and there you are. And you can always return to these dreams, but you have to really focus on it. You have to have a lot of will and intent to get there, and you have to visualize it, And it is possible to have a recurring dream. It is possible to have the same dream. It is possible to continue the dream and develop it, on and on and on. So while they might seem random, and they are very often, it would be possible then to actually, as the ancients did very often, have dream work where you actually are inducing the dream and then and mining this territory by going back with a sort of an agenda that you want to have the dream what you want to dream of, where you want to go, the questions you want to answer. And this requires a lot of internal planning. It's not like you can sit down and draw out on a piece of paper where you're going to go. It's nothing the analytical mind knows. It is nothing in your stored physical memory that's going to help you. You have to get in touch with your inner self to have a lucid dream.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm just looking. We just got another question from the chat room.
Oh, good.
I'm like a squirrel. Oh, look, something shiny, and then I forget.
I love these questions, Marla.
I have really good people that listen in and ask intelligent questions.
Maybe some will share their dreams.
Yeah, that could be. All right, but the question is, what is the trick of continuing a dream once you wake up?
Yeah, that's very good. That's a good one. Well, what I always tell people is it's visualization. You have to visualize it. You have to visualize it. And the trick to visualizing, as far as manifesting what you visualize, is that you actually see what it is, where you want to go. And once you've been there, you kind of know, right? You have kind of a dim picture of what it was. And then you focus on that. You focus on that and nothing else. And you intently desire it to go there. Desire is a very important key part of all of this, desire. And then the intent that you will go there, and then the belief that you can go there. So it is possible to return to a dream. It's not always easy. Sometimes it's really easy, but it is possible to go back and have a continuation dream.
I've had it, but I've picked up where I left off when you wait for a minute and get a glass of water or whatever. But I just kind of thought that was magical. It
is. It's all magical.
Well, yeah, actually, that's true. Oh, we got more questions coming in. Hang on. Question: what does it mean to have the same dream 3 or 4 times a month?
Yeah, that's a good one, isn't it? Well, very often, common dreams are that way. That you're just kind of vexed by some unresolved concern or thing that's kind of stuck in your head. Mm-hmm. And it's important to, first of all, determine if it's a lucid dream. But I can tell you that since I've kind of practiced programming my own lucid dreams, that I've used my lucid dreaming to go and program and enter a dreamscape where I'm recreating an earlier common dream nightmare, and I resolve the questions. Because these are matters of deep concern, right? So I've had the same. I had the same dream for many, many, many years, and it was always painful in the end how it would end. And I said, doggone it, I can change this. I can change the outcome of this. Because I'm in a lucid dream, you see, you're an active participant. You're not just someone who's, chased by the monster, but your feet are like lead. No, it's like you can move and do things. And in a lucid dream, you can actually you have a keen awareness that you don't have in a common dream. So I can use a dream like that to rid some of the nasty, troublesome dreams that I've always been vexed with. And it is sometimes you'll have lucid dreams that you have again and again and again, and that is, of course, a case where your spirit is saying, look, pay attention. There is such a thing out there as synchronicity, and it's a gift. It's a divine gift. It is cosmic consciousness saying, look, I want you to pay attention. Now, and it'll grab a hold of you, and it'll shake you good. And if you don't get it the first time, it'll play it slightly different, and then it'll play maybe slightly different, or maybe the same. It's just trying to it's trying to shake you into realization and dealing with something. These call for our attention.
Yeah, I was thinking when I saw that question, it's kind of like reincarnation. You have to keep returning until you get it right.
Right, over and over and over, and knowing that there's no perfection, it'll probably go on forever and ever. But that's okay. It is the journey is everything.
Well, yeah. And that's a good place to stop for a minute because we've got to take a quick break. So everybody, close your eyes and have a daydream for a couple of minutes, and we'll be right back.
Cauldron will be right back, so don't go away. If you end up with webbed feet, remember, you've been warned.
As you go about your daily life, look closer. Every year across America, a staggering 4.2 million youth are homeless or trafficked. Covenant House is the national leader providing safe housing for youth, 50 years strong. Every youth who walks into Covenant House gets clean clothes, hot meals, medical care, and a safe place to sleep. So, look closer at Covenant House and help us fight youth homelessness. To help or get help, go to covenanthouse.org.
Are you haunted by shadow people in the middle of the night?
Do you secretly love all things creepy and spooky, enjoying ghost stories and horror fiction from the best storytellers?
Do you have a true ghost experience you want to share, but no one will believe you?
If yes, listen to the professionals on What Are You Afraid Of? Horror Paranormal Show Friday nights at 9 p.m. on Para X Radio and at www.whatareyouafraidofpodcast.com.
What Are You Afraid Of on Para X?
Our creepy and demented hosts are on call to provide you with all your spooky needs with true ghost stories, interviews, indie music, and new horror fiction. We are ready to scare you.
Para X. Missed an episode of Stirring the Cauldron? Then be sure to check out marlabrooks.com and check out the archive. And while you're there, check out Marla's weekly Witches Oracle card reading. Explore the site to find many great resources, such as information on tarot, oracle readings, metaphysical consultations, and links to all of Marla's books. That's marlabrooks.com. Welcome back to Stirring the Cauldron. Once again, here's your host, Marla Brooks.
And my guest tonight is Von Braschler, and we're talking about his ancient wisdom scrolls, scroll number 2, the lucid dreaming one. And I've got another question from the chat room.
Oh, goody.
There we go. She says, on Australian Aboriginal dream work and paintings, is it beneficial to do that type of artwork and Mandela's work?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, I mean, yes, I believe in artwork relating to dreams in many ways. My technique for programming lucid dreams relies heavily on painting and painting inside of you. It's like visualizing something that is important to you, such as what you want to learn or where you want to go or the experience you want to see or who you want to talk to. So, yeah, back to an earlier question, you want to talk to somebody specifically and you can paint a picture of that person. Never use words when you're programming a dream. Never, ever. Use painting or drawing. And because when you use words, you're tapping your analytical mind, and it should be turned off. And if you're going to start processing words, then you're turning it back on. See, so you want a clear channel, as we say in communication, a clear channel, and afterwards you want to also maybe render a drawing or a painting of what you've seen. This is extremely important, and of course we know the Aborigines were skillful dreamers.
Yeah. Wait a minute. I've lost myself here again. This is terrible. Let's talk about programming now. I mean, we've talked about it a little teeny bit, but let's get into the nitty-gritty of it.
Yeah. I mean, if I could say just in the beginning, I think that dream work is probably the most valuable, useful thing that anybody could do to discover who you are, why you're here, and what is your life destiny or mission. To find yourself, in other words. It is right up there with meditation, which most people find difficult, but everybody dreams. Everybody sleeps, and everybody goes to bed at night. And you can actually program your dreams so that when you do go to sleep, the body is completely rested, the mind has the night off, and you're exploring it and learning in your dreams. Learning in our dreams is a wonderful, wonderful thing. So what I do, like in workshops, is to get people to get very, very quiet, just put the body to rest. I use self-hypnosis. I start with the feet, and I go to the legs. I put the torso to sleep, and then the chest, and the arms, and the head, and then the mind. And then I begin to visualize. Begin to visualize by drawing pictures of what it is I want to see and where I want to go and what kind of answers I'm seeking. What are the questions? More importantly, what are the questions? And your dream agenda, your visualized plan of where you want to go and what you want to see, it can be very sketchy, But it's okay. I mean, sometimes we go on a path of discovery, and we don't know what exactly we're going to find, but we just know there's gold out there, right? Or there's a great thing down that path that we're so curious to find. So it is exploration. It is taking a big leap forward to study what's down the path. And what I do then is I do the visualization exercises by drawing, and then I will give myself a moment to collect myself, with the notion that when I look closely at what I've drawn, as far as my visualization, that becomes like an agenda. It becomes like a roadmap, and it takes me instantly outside the body. Now, there are many parts to this plan of programming a lucid dream. One is that you have to have a roadmap. Nobody begins any great journey without a plan, without taking something with you as to where you're going to go and what you want to see. You don't just like totally wander off, And the other thing is you need to have a sense of inner harmony. And this is the part I think in meditation that confuses people, the sense of a whole body harmony. Mm-hmm. Your analytical mind has to willingly allow your inner consciousness to take charge, because it's the only part of you that knows how to get out of here and go anywhere. And it's the only part of you that can complete this journey. In fact, when you come back from a lucid dream, I encourage people to go into a kind of a reflective, low-level meditation where they're just allowing their consciousness to absorb the experience and take hold of it, and let it completely wash over you before you ever get out of bed and start writing down on a piece of paper or drawing this beautiful picture about what you've seen. Because the analytical mind is only on re-entry when you're in this kind of half asleep, half still in a dream mode. Only then is your analytical mind privy to what you've seen and experienced.
Got more questions from the chat room.
Oh, good. Keep those questions coming.
Back and forth. Let's go for it. The last question: is it possible to intentionally cause an outcome while lucid dreaming?
Outcome. Well, our dreams can be impactful, but primarily to ourselves. It is not like you're going to be going anywhere in a physical body. I mean, in that sense, it is an astral voyage, but it's a little more deluxe than that, because you're bringing all aspects of your subtle energy bodies with you. You certainly are bringing your astral body, but you're bringing insights and observations and powers that inhabit the mental body and the causal body and the higher spiritual bodies. All of this comes with you. All that doesn't come with you is your physical body. So since your physical body does not show up in the dream, it just, you have a sense of it. You'll have like an astral double, maybe, that resembles your physical body. You will not have a hand. You will not have legs. You can't kick anybody or shake their hand or write a contract or shoot Adolf Hitler in the head. Any of this, you think, oh my gosh, if I could only go back in history or forward in history and the things I could do. Yeah, but you can have this tremendous insight. And to answer the question also in another way, I think that you can impact your own life in the here and now by what you bring to the dreamscape with you in a lucid dream, which is to say you can heal yourself in a dream. And the ancients believed this very deeply. Aristotle believed this very deeply, that you can go into a lucid dream and send energy to yourself, because there you are, you with your mental body, your causal body, your emotional body, your higher spiritual bodies. All of this, on all of these bodies that you've brought with you, they're all fully energized, and they impact realms of reality that we cannot impact so easily in this physical world. It is very hard to impact the mental realm in our physical body, but you can in a dream. In a lucid dream, you can go and you can project energy to yourself, and it will come back to you here and now. It won't make you stronger in the past, but the energy comes to you now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can't explain how this happens, but I'm very certain this is exactly what happens, because you're the one that made the trip, right? So you're going to come back healed.
There you go. You're right. All right, another question from the chat room. Can guided daydreams be used as formal spell work?
Certainly. Why not? You can use it in spell work. It depends on what you're doing. I don't see why you couldn't. I'm trying to think exactly how you would do that. I've never personally used it in spell work, but now that it's said, it makes pretty good sense to me that this would be a more powerful way to do spell work, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Because I think when you're doing spell work, you're dealing with your higher consciousness on anyway,
mm-hmm.
as well as physically going through the steps. So mm-hmm. I think that's really good.
Okay, and one more. When we dream about, for example, being up in the clouds or onto another dimension, or time traveling back in time, is it our minds that are showing those places, or do our souls astral project themselves up and away?
Yeah, it's not your mind in the sense that you think of like where you store your memories. The story has to be told to your analytical mind when you get back, saying, "Oh, this is where I've done. Let me unload it for you, so you can store the info, and maybe we can analyze it later." Because it's good at analyzing things, and it's good at incorporating everything that happened to you on a non-physical level back into the physical. So I don't know. Did that answer the question, or did I miss part of it?
No, I think so. Have there been many experimental studies with electroencephalographs and functional magnetic resonance imaging to distinguish the difference in brainwave activity different than a regular dream or lucid dreams?
Yeah, I mean, there has been in recent years some research. I don't know how to evaluate what is the good research, bad research. I think of some of the work that was done even back into the 60s, say, or the 70s, and it was like the near-death experience, and there was a lot of that where it was observed that people would have these near-death experiences and go somewhere else, and that kind of evolved into a sense of that the inner soul or spirit of a person could leave the body and come back successfully. Now, I know that most of the dream research revolves around commonplace dreams, which would not be lucid dreams, and they're so it has been studied. It has been studied somewhat by psychologists. I mean, we have, even going back to Carl Jung, he saw the potential of significant messages in dreams that the dreamer would take seriously. Jung, he felt that the dreams present dreamers with revelation, that are useful in resolving emotional issues, spiritual concerns, personal fears. Recurring dreams demand attention. Carl Jung believed very deeply as a depth psychologist in it. And so, we have now the depth psychologists going forward to today from Carl Jung. We see a lot of interest in psychology and studying the significance of certain kinds of dreams, significant dreams, which we didn't have before, like going back to like Freud, it was just, they were all just like symbolic confusion, symbolic representations of confusion of the mind.
When we have lucid dreams during waking moments, and that kind of maybe do a double take, because, the person is totally aware of the dream in progress from beginning to end, but it's like they're daydreaming, actually, right?
Yeah, these are amazing. And I'll bet a lot of your listeners have had these too. I mean, I've had them, just in the middle of a day, you're suddenly somewhere else, and we'll often call that like a vision or a glimpse of something, and you can't really readily resolve it, And I think you have to just like kind of fess up and say, I was somewhere else for a minute. I actually left my body for a minute. I was lucid dreaming, but it was a waking dream. So I think that, yes, I think in lucid dreaming can happen briefly and sporadically and randomly, even in daydreams, or even walking down the street. I've had them. But it's better that they're under controlled circumstances where you're lying safely, the body's rested, the mind is at rest. There's some programming involved. Serious dream work is always better.
Mm-hmm. So, I think we talked in the beginning about places that we can go. We can go on the astral plane. We can go in the past. We can go in the future. I mean, that it's just like, we got carte blanche, right? Just to go and do wherever the heck we want.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, you go back to even like the ancient Hindus, like 3,000 years ago in the Upanishads, and they were describing how important dreams could be as exploring the spiritual exploration the soul does when it leaves the physical body, and I just thought, I was thinking, oh my God, it's just like
having a ticket to go around the world anywhere you want to go and find out.
Yeah. So to continue that thought on the Upanishads, there are a lot of mystics in India, and I especially like the Samadhi mystics, because they train their young, their novices, to do controlled dreaming, and what they'll do is they'll have these dreams that are much like in shamanism, in dream walking and spirit walking, where they actually leave the body and go into a long, I mean days long sometimes, long dream, where they explore and they describe a sense of beyond normal space and time, or they call it timelessness, and so I firmly believe that you can time travel in a dream, and you can go also then in other places, remote places. You can be on top of a mountain. Now, when I go into the dentist's office to have a root canal, I mean, they say this is not going to be pleasant. So I say, that's okay. I'm going to check out. And where I go, I just like visualize going on the beach, and I'm walking on the beach. And I always pick sunset. I don't know why. And I've seen the most beautiful sunsets. So I kind of now do not dread going to the dentist, because I know I get to walk on the beach and look at these beautiful purple sunsets.
See, that's a good hint for everybody, especially when they go to the dentist or any place that they don't want to be, except maybe at work where you kind of have to stay here, but
Oh yeah, any situation that's physically confining you, you can just leave, and I would like to direct people out there too to some of the visionary paintings of dreams. Like one of my favorite is Gauguin. Mm-hmm. His beautiful paintings of dreams and dreamers. The South Islanders. And then you can look at the work of Goya or Rousseau, even Picasso, Salvador Dali. They've really mined this idea of capturing the essence of dream work, the incredible vision of dreamers.
There is so much about this. I swear, I should have brought you in for 2 hours, because the questions and the layers, it's not just something cut and dried. So I think maybe we'll have to pick up at some point when we...
Yeah. Well, thank you. And dreams are so important, because everybody can do this, and they are so insightful, and it's all tailor-made just for you. Yeah.
And one more thing, though, before we have to really kind of slow down. When we end our lucid dreams and return back to the physical presence, I think I've read this in the scrolls. It's important how to handle your return. Can you explain that?
Yeah, you want to be very careful. When you come back, when you return, or as I say in my workshop, on reentry, take it soft and slow. Because people just bolt up, and they say, "Oh, I'm fine, I'm back," like, "Oh, I was so careful," like these are people, like they think like, "Oh, I was someplace far away, and lucky to be back." Well, you were lucky to go there. So when you come back, just let it wash over you. Don't be so in such a hurry to re-engage your analytical mind and return sensation to the body. Just lie there for a minute and let it wash over you, and let your inner self, your inner consciousness absorb the dream. It's not going to analyze the dream like your physical mind does. It's going to envelop it. It's going to, the great truths are not dissected. They just wash over you, and just let that happen. And let it take it in and feel it. And when you feel like you've absorbed it all and you haven't lost anything, only then should you, open your eyes, return the feeling to your body, re-engage your physical mind, sit up, and then if you want, you can begin to think about it. as we normally do in analytical thinking, because the analytical mind at that point has been given something which, you had to take a great journey to retrieve.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, and somebody, not in the chat room, but when they saw that was you were coming on today and talking about lucid dreaming, they said, or they wondered if there was any danger at all in programming a lucid dream.
No. In fact, there's, it's safer to program it because you're going to be more in control. Now, I'm not suggesting for a minute that you're out of control when you have a random lucid dream, because once again, this is your inner spirit that's taken you there, and it kind of knows how to go and how to get back. There's not a problem. Programming your lucid dream is just careful. This is what the ancients did in their dream temples in inducing dreams. They actually did it with an attendant. And of course, the body then is in a safe place. It's perfectly rested. The mind is put safely to sleep. You've reached some inner harmony where your physical self is allowing your inner self to leave. And it's done methodically.
Mm-hmm. The whole, I've got to sit down and start reading that whole scroll, from start to finish, because there's just so much. I mean, I keep saying that, but, you think of something, it's okay, it's a lucid dream, and you kind of get what you figure it's about, but, oh my God, there's just way, way more than we can even imagine until we read about it.
And there have been many people, philosophers and spiritual leaders alike, that have surmised that really, when we are in a dream state like that, we're fully awake, and we're right now we're wandering in a kind of a sleeping haze, and I think that's true. I think people are kind of sleepwalking through life.
Yeah, a lot more people than should be.
Yeah.
All right. Well, like I said, I've got way more to ask, but the clock isn't on our side.
Thank you.
So, again, when is the third scroll coming out? When do you think?
They tell me next year. I don't know exactly when. Okay. So we're just trying to get people used to this idea, and I think there's now a little video at the end. If you go to like Amazon, you can look at the little video how to unroll the scroll. It's really quite easy, and I know they're on sale right now at Amazon, but you can get them at your stores, and it's a new thing, but it's also a very ancient thing.
I know. See, we're going back in time without even programming it. We just have to read it, and that's a good thing. The way they read it is the way we read it. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to having you come back to talk about the newly released ones, and maybe intermediately, come back and we'll talk about this and more. But where can people find out about you and your books and stuff?
Why, you can go to, I guess on Amazon, I post under author profile, where I'm going to be, like the show is like forecast on there, and where I've been, if you want to look up any past interviews or, and you go to my Facebook and I'll tell you where I'm going to appear. I don't travel much, but I'm going to be in Chicago to the Infinity Center in, I think the 12th of October, if you go to Infinity Center. And so you go to Facebook, facebook.com/V Braschler. And, I put all these comings and goings there, and I'm always happy to hear from people.
All right. Well, thank you for letting us hear you tonight.
Thank you.
And, again, look forward to the next time. And thank you all for the really good questions, you guys, tonight. Really appreciate you. And until next time, everybody, blessed be, and merry meet again. Good night.
This has been another edition of Stirring the Cauldron with Marla Brooks.
Be sure to tune in next week at the same time for another great guest and more fun. Any rebroadcast or other use of this program without permission is strictly prohibited. Copyright 2009.
You have been listening to the Para X Radio Network.